Good evening, welcome to tonight's Hearthstone half hour. I'm Hammy, this is Felcraft Casts. Hope you're well and good on this Monday evening. It is none other than, I believe the 4th of August, and we are swinging our way right into the next quarter of Nextremis. That's going to be live, I think, tomorrow. We're just waiting for the Hearthstone Blue post and announcement, but that should be good fun. And in the meantime, we're going to be taking a peek at what we can do in terms of looking at a new deck. It is Newbie Monday, so we always take a deck we've seen, break it down, and then see how it goes in a live environment. And we're looking at Controlish Paladin. How does this work? Well, the meta has come full circle in many ways. This is Kolento, so not going to take the credit for this deck. I will link it in the chat, and I will also link it in none other than the description of this video afterwards. But let's have a look at how it works. Let's break it down, and then let's get into a game and see how fun it can be. So, our custom Paladin that we ourselves are trying to have a look at. I'm just trying to see if I've actually got some kind of weird clash. Nope, it's okay, we can rebuild it again for you. So, Controlly Paladin. Well, how does this work? You can grab a Paladin, you can take many of the tools that make Paladin oh so good, and then you can use it just to squeeze someone down to the stage whereby if you're dropping a Tyrion Fordring, which is your finisher, then they're really going to have some problems keeping up. So let's have a look at a few of the Paladin combos. First up, Humility, changing a minion's attack to 1. This is going to help you against all sorts of big, nasty and aggressive minions. So that is very much a control piece. You are just reducing the amounts of damage, threat and concern that opposing nasty minions, clicks and pops, I do apologise for that, may do to you. So 1 Humility makes its way in. Next up we then go for 2 of none other than Equality. Now Equality is such an excellent card. Changing the health of all minions to 1, well, that means that there are several combos you can use to then just clear the table very, very nicely. Drop the minion's health to 1, and we will shortly come on to some cards that let you then clear the table. Holy Knight, one of those is dropped in for the 6 health restore to keep you alive and swinging. We then pop in a couple of Aldor Peacekeeper, so as well as having a Humility, we've then got 2 Aldors, as well as being a 3/3/3, they will let you throw down a little changing an enemy's attack to 1, so which is excellent fun as well. So that is oh so handy as well. You can back up your Humility with effectively 2 solid minions with an additional Humility effect, so nothing to complain about there. Hey Moldy, welcome, hope you're well and good, and everyone who's just joined us. So with the Aldor Peacekeeper, that gives us additional control against nasty big minion threats or whatever may be coming our way. We can then back that up with a couple of Consecration. So dealing 2 damage to all enemies, very, very simple. If I've equality'd and all of my opposing minions' health is now 1, then dealing a Consecration then clears the board. So that is a combo. Equality Consecration. 6 mana, clear your opponent's board. Pretty much. Nicely done. Next up, we have an option of, we go for 2 True Silvers. I've harped on about this card before. For a basic card, 4 mana, you swing it twice, you can pretty much pick something off, and you get the 2 health restore. So again, excellent in terms of keeping the control. Using on minions, take down your Paladin's health a bit if you have to, but that will be oh so handy. We are then going to drop in a Guardian of Kings. So in the late game, the Battle Cry restores 6 health, and then this has enough body in terms of attack and health to start trading away. We then have a Lay on Hands, restore 8 health, draw 3. That's your late game, getting yourself back into the match or getting yourself healed up so that you're in a position to win. I'm very well, just as always wishing it was the weekend. But everyone likes weekends. This is nothing unusual at all. So there we go. We've got a Lay on Hands, getting you back into the game, turboing up your health just for that final push. And then you would normally have a Tyrion Fordring. Now, if you've not seen Tyrion, I will craft a Tyrion soon because I can't spell Tyrion. I'm trying to spell it like Game of Thrones. Tyrion is just ridiculous as a finisher. He is only 6/6, but you have Divine Shield, Taunt, and Death Rattle. Your opponent has to deal with him. They have to attack him. You can live twice with the Divine Shield, and then as soon as he dies, you get a 5/3 weapon to swing in for the win. So that 5/3 weapon is really what you can finish up the game with as well. With the Ashbringer, your Paladin is just going to keep on swinging. I do not have Tyrion, so I'm going to take in another finisher, and I'm going to go for Raggy. Now, Raggy Randomoros is sometimes not the best finisher. He doesn't quite fit with some of the theme of this deck, but there's something, you need a heavy finisher of some description. So we'll drop him in and see how he does. Next up we have Elven Archer. So the Elven Archer, I can't, 11, the 11 Archer. Elven Archer, you can drop in for a couple of combos, a useful 1-drop. Next up we then have we go for 2 Sludge Belchers. Now these are chunky, these really stop aggro dead in their tracks. Taunt, Death Rattle, you summon a 1/2 slime with Taunt that then slows them down again. It's not an Abomo, Baby Abomination, my first Abomination. It has 3 attack, 5 health, so it will stick around for a bit longer, and it's Aurelia sticking aggro dead in its tracks. If those start hitting the table, aggro starts slowing down so much. And then 1 Acolyte for the card draw. Whenever the minion takes damage, draw some card. 2 Harvest Golem for the nasty 2/1 ability. We do like a bit of that. Why this is Tank Edition, 2 Sen'jin Shieldmaster into the mix, and this again really just stopping aggro dead. We can drop down to just 1 Azure Drake, having something to play turn 5, the spell damage for a couple of your spells, but really the battle cry of drawing a card keeps that going. And then Stampeding Kodo, just 1 of those in, destroy a random minion with 2 or less, will again give you a 5-drop and help you clear the board against aggro, or indeed any other minion that you may have humiliated, or you might have Aldor Peacekeeper or similar. And then last but not least, we'll throw in a couple of Sunwalkers before we top up the rest of the deck. Sunwalker again, you're throwing down yet another taunt, you're just throwing out walls and walls of walls and walls. It really will frustrate your opponent to really just put insane amounts of pain down. They're going to be fighting against all of these tanks, and you are just going to be chipping away with damage, trying to swing for the win. You're just going to keep the tanks going down, keep hitting to the face, and keep that pressure moving. Now this is an interesting inclusion. I throw this up as a lot of people, since the Plague Quarter, have released, have started using him in decks. Now why is Lartheb good? Well, enemy spells costing 5 more next turn. If you can time this right, then you are messing up a Miracle Rogue for sure, for example. So say for example, if an enemy's they're about to throw down a bunch of spells, if they just throw down a Gadget and Auctioneer, and they've then concealed their Gadget and Auctioneer, they probably want to play loads of spells next go. If you throw this down at the right point, you can really slow them down, and you can slow a lot of decks down that rely on those spell casts. So Lartheb, worth experimenting with. He's not so uniform as to throw into every deck, I would say. However, he's certainly worth a little investigate. Light Draconis, Rajanog, welcome. It's good to have you both. We are in the midst of taking a look at a bit of Kolento control Paladin nonetheless, just building it up and then seeing how we can play it on the ladder, because we have to start somewhere and it's a new season. There is no harm in throwing some new decks against the lower ladder, seeing how they go. So Lartheb, an interesting inclusion. Let's see how well he works at our level. He could be swapped in or swapped out for various other cards depending on what you're seeing at your rank of ladder in the metagame in which you're playing. But let's give him a go. I think he'd be pretty solid. Other things that we needed to drop in. Just another 5 cards. This is probably because I've had a little card blindness and decided to ignore some things. I got my Consecrations. Shonir, but yet Shofar. Ah, yes. There is an option. I'm just going to... I know where it is. Wait. I think we want a Black Knight in there. Black Knight would be pretty chunky. So we've got loads of tanks, but with the Black Knight, another deck that we can throw down, another card that we can throw out, and that's going to put loads and loads of tank destroying pressure. It's going to really let us remove some stuff nicely. There are so many things that get lobbed in terms of big tanks. If you're playing against sort of tanky druids and similar, or a mirror match, or anything else that's causing you a few problems, then this will give us a nice little hand with that. So 3 cards to go. We are also close. We've got our Sunwalkers, we've got our Azures. Drake. We're going to grab a Spellbreaker as well for that additional silence, and then worst comes to worst, we've got a 4/3 minion on the table. That'll help us with a little bit of controllings. We have our Humanities, Archers, Equalities, Holy Light. Ah, that is what we're missing. And this is a very nice last piece of additional control. The Pyromancer becoming ever so popular in terms of building various pressures up. Well, how can we play this? Well, we can also got another mini budget combo, and we can grab out a equality, all minions health to 1, or we can Pyromancer then equality. So throw down the Pyromancer, throw down equality, all minions health goes to 1, and boom, they're gone from the table indeed. So let us grab the Kolentodin and let's try and squeeze the life in a strictly working it out kind of way out of people. So let's have a quick look at the mana curve. We've got fairly regular plays. We're going to be throwing down big tanks whenever we can. In the early game, we want to be making sure that our opponent's table is under control. In the early to mid game, you can see the 3 through 5 mana section is where we really start twisting the knife and keeping the table under control. By this time, we should have the table under control, and we're throwing out big tanks galore. We have a lot of situational options. Aggro should have a lot of problems with our control. And in the late game, we should be swinging away, well, it should be Tyrion. Let's remember we should have Tyrion instead of Rag here. But I can't afford Tyrion, he's 1,550. I need to save some more dust. But in the late game we can have heals, we can stack ourselves up. Now ideally, because of all these heals, we'll be swinging away with Tyrion Fordring or Ashbringer. So remember that Tyrion is really quite important in this deck. So our goal is to keep our opponent under control, and then if we choke the life out of them in the mid-game just by denying them options, then in the late game we can swing away with table control and win nicely. At least that is the theory. Let us see how Kolentodin works in practice. I'll just pop it up in the right column so we can have a look, and then we'll get into some game and see how it is all going. There is Kolentodin itself. And remember, of course, that there is one Ragnaros that we do not have here. Rank 20! What is the worst that could happen? Like Dr. Pepper, we are going to throw ourselves in. So we're going to play a couple of matches on the ladder and see how playing Kolentodin works in practice. So this was a Season 4 Legend deck. So we have one final season of qualification in Similar this August. So there we go. What are we mulliganing for? Well, we like some early game. We're playing a Zoo, a Sludge Belcher. It's nice to have in hand. I'm going to keep Equality, mulligan 2, and see if I can grab myself a Wild Pyro just in case we're playing a Zoo. Ooh, that's not so fun. I could have gone for a full mulligan. I've been quite unlucky to get 2 high drops, but we will see what we will see. Oh, and we have a rushing Murlocky. Warlock of all things. Okie dokie. Well, I'm not going to Equality. I'm going to start trading up. See if he wants to trade or if he wants to hit me in the face. If he is playing a True Rush, he will hit me in the face as soon as he possibly can. Equality becomes null and void, but I would quite like to draw some Wild Pyromancers. If I'm going to be overrun with Murlocs, then Pyromancers will certainly help me. There's the Mortal Coil, controlling me, drawing the card, hitting me to the face. As soon as I get my tanks up, and this is where maybe saving that... Oh, hello. Yep. If we didn't doubt what this was, we now know what it is. A Consecrate would be very nice. There's no point me equalitying right now. I'm going to save that hopefully for when I've got a Consecrate or a Wild Pyromancer. I have a bad feeling about this, as any Star Wars fan would say. We can see that I'm just being controlled and he's just lobbing down loads of Murlocs. This is going to get buffed for every Murloc that's summoned. Does he not have any more Murlocs? No, he's got a Knife Juggler. So the good news is, if I get a tank out, then I'm good. The bad news is, I need to get a tank out quick. I threw away my coin, which was perhaps a little bit rash. Oh, okay, I'll take it. I will happily take that. Next turn I can just Consecrate and deck everything off the table. Of course, if I had been sensible and actually kept my coin, I would have been able to Consecrate them all. Hello Zano, welcome! Oh, I have no coins, so I'm going to take another 6 to the face, just like you do. Going to be another Murloc or similar. A Consecrate will get me straight into the match, which is lovely. But I'm going to have to heal up and start getting some table threats down. There we go. Cold Light Seer. Ooh, other Murlocs have 2 health. Frustrating. That's not going to remove everything, and I cannot equality into a consecrate, which is even more annoying. So I can remove nigh on everything apart from those murlocs, and if I'd saved that coin, that would have been even better. So embarrassingly, it may look as though this is a murloc loss. It's not really what we quite wanted, but I can have a sludge belcher up next go. So how many cards can I move? I can only actually remove 2 with this consecrate. I will take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 next go. Is it worth saving cards? That is the question. Well, I will take 11. I doubt he can get 17 down, but then I need to be healing myself up somehow. Okay, so with that I know that I will wipe out the board next turn, and I've got myself nicely healed up enough with that one Holy Light, so he's not going to be taking me out next go. I will be able to consecrate, and even buffing one of those for 1 health. He can slam one of those into my face if he likes, but I'm going to have to be healing myself. Oh, and the Murlocs heal up again. How frustrating. So basically the lesson here is if I'd saved my coin, then I would have been fine. Coining out that chap at the beginning was a big mistake. It was a big mistake. Okay. What can I do? Well, getting that tank down does everything. Equalitying will not mean I can remove everything. I can remove a reasonable amount of minions, but not quite enough. So we're going to have to consecrate. And that still leaves him 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the table. So that's actually a loss. I'm going to have to tap and concede. Lesson learnt. Against aggro, you must save some of your control. Saving that coin would have actually made the difference. So if I go second again, I'm going to save a coin. And that misplaying control was the difference between a possible victory and a sad, sad defeat. Okay, with that in mind, let us swing into our next game and see what we can grab. Oh, we've got a shaman this time. We will have totems flying down. Okay, we are going second. We're going to save that coin. We've got all expensive cards. We don't want any of those. We want to be going. And we, to be fair, have a better hand this time around. We've got some spells, we've got some nice early game cards. We're going to Wild Pyromancer. I'm feeling good about that. Coining out the Wild Pyro would have been fairly excessive. Remember, of course, we can trigger the Pyro with the coin as well if we want to. So, okie I don't want to be laying on hands. If I throw down a Pyro, he might decide to Lightning Bolt, remove it, or similar. I could be coining out to get my Acolyte to start chipping away. He might try and remove that. I'm going to keep the Pyro in hand for the time beings. And we'll see if throwing down the coin again is my error. I could see an overloaded Lightning Bolt or similar flying my way very, very soon. There we go. It gets me my card draw at least, and I overload him. He may just throw down another totem. But then next go, I have, yep, there we go. A totem is expected, spell damage, quite nasty. Consecrate I'm not going to be playing. Pyromancer is not going to be doing anything for me. Old or Peacekeeper is not going to be reducing anything to 1. So for that reason and that reason alone, I think it's just summon a token and pass. So we have our options. We have Wild Pyro. We have various spells we can throw after the Pyro to get that massive damage on the table. We can always throw a Consecrate after a Pyro to do 3 damage to all of our opposition minions, but we actually now have the options to start swinging away and clearing stuff off the table. So throwing down a Pyro, I can remember the 1 damage to all minions will also start taking out my own as well. For that reason, I can either secure the table, but the older Peacekeeper I'd rather save to debuff something with a nasty attack. Consecrate, the board is really not strong enough for me to consecrate, so there's a reasonable option at the moment, which is to just drop my True Silver Champion and then start tipping away at various minions. And then we will tip away and clear things off. That will give me the room to either swing to the face for some damage if he damages me, or it certainly is. Good evening, Jex. You come and find us in a slightly better position as opposed to losing to Murlocs. How embarrassing. Doomhammer flies down, and remember that with that overload, he's not going to be able to have 2 mana extra to play next turn. However, he can then swing for 4 damage. 4 damage a go if he wants to because of the Winged Fury. So we need to get some things down. So Lower Theb will certainly slow down the Shemmy at some point. I would save him for when we feel that lots of Shaman spells might go down. The Sludge Belcher will certainly be awkward and stop him in his tracks. For the time being, I think I'm just going to get out a Sludge Belcher. Now, a little excessive on the spell control. I could have swung him to the face, but I've got myself nicely set up on the table. He's saying that was a mistake. There we go. Yeah, Hex. I appreciate that. Lower Theb could have indeed slowed down that Hex. And he can swing to me again if he likes. I get a Guardian of Kings, I can heal myself up. I'm still relatively happy in terms of slowing down our opponent. Well, I've got nothing that I need to control to 1. There's nothing to consecrate. I'm going to be awkward. So, usually Lertheb would be going down against a Miracle Rogue or something similar. This is certainly going to mess up any spellcasting plans he's got for a go. It means it's going to force him to minions. There we go. You see a very expensive lightning bolt flying down for 6 mana, and he does remove Lertheb with some damage to his Shaman hero himself. However, what I can now do is throw down my Sunwalker, and he is in a sequence of removal. He is going to have to, or she is going to have to be able to throwing out removal after removal after removal, Hex after Taunt after Swing to the Face after Silence, to start slowing down the run of tanks that I hope to be putting down. So there goes an Earthshock. 6 mana left to go. He can swing a couple of times to remove if he really chooses. I expect a nice follow-up. There we go, we get the Wolves. Denmark. People from America and Denmark and the UK. Yay. Okay, so what options do we have? We have a removal option, so let me ensure that I hope this is correct. First, Wild Pyromancer. Second, Consecrace. Bosh, 2 damage to all enemies, and then the 1 damage from the Wild Pyromancer clears the table. And sounding like an overjoyed kid, that is where my clearance comes out, and that is the Wild Pyromancer combo. The Wild Pyromancer combo that is awesome. Does anyone know the release times for the new quarter tomorrow? Let's get moldy. I do not believe they've announced them yet. I'm looking forward to that as well. I'll be planning my evening appropriately. We will certainly be playing a whole bunch of things, and it will be loads of fun. Oh, more options upon more options. I've now got equality to wipe all of these out if I want. The Guardian of Kings is completely unnecessary. I can change the minions' attacks to 1 if I so choose. There's no reason for me to lay on hands, so I'm going to be starting to throw out some awkward and annoying walls and similar. Follow the rules! Echoing Ooze, absolutely looking forward to that card being available. Just a whole family of Ooze. So tank upon tank upon tank upon tank, you can see how the tanking element of this Kolentodin is coming in quite nicely. Nicely done. That does buff everything else. Of course it's not going to help with the quality. An Earthshock of course gets the silence away, and it's no longer a tank, so he can swing to the face if he so chooses, but he's going for the trades. Rockbiter. He goes for another trade. Interesting. He's saving that Doomhammer for some removal. Now, Elven Archer, perfect for situations like this. I can just do a little bit of picking off. There's no reason for me to lay on hands, but I do need to make sure that I'm keeping some pressure going. So, with that in mind, let's drop a Spellbreaker on the table. I don't really want to use that silence at this stage, but it is about getting some table presence back. There's no reason for me to Holy Light. The Duke of Ooze as opposed to King Ooze. Some photoshopping needs to be done. Oh, so awkward, the Fire Elemental, and then with a Fort Liking, some Overload. Well, table cleared, but I've got a quality. I just need another Pyromancer or a beautiful Consecrate. This is not ideal, of course. Bear in mind that he can pretty much swing me within 2-3 turns if I don't get everything together. So I'm really waiting for my combos to arrive. But happily, even though I can't be doing anything just yet, I could equality, but I want to save that equality for the optimum situation. Let's heal up. Let's drop one of those. He's going to have to swing through me some. General calls for more ooze. Could not help but agree that ooze is always good. So at the moment we're really waiting for a control card. We could do with a Wild Pyromancer, we could do with a Consecrate. Those two to combo with a quality, just clear the table. We're well and good with those, but we don't have them just yet. So you can see that you need to make sure that you can have your control combos in position for when you need them. Here come the swings, there goes the removal, there goes some more removal. He can swing to me for another 6 damage to the face. So if I do not get something nice soon, this is going to get a real nasty real quickly. Ragnaros the Firelord is not really what I would like at this point in time. Equalitying everything to 1 and then ragging will throw a cat amongst some pigeons, but it is not going to get me the card I need. So let's see what he can do. He can do 10, he can do a good 18 damage next go, which is not nice, and then add another 4 with his Windfuring Doomhammer. That can be 22. There is an off chance, even before he's got anything, that he could do a huge execute. Unlikely, but possible. So for that reason, I need to keep myself nicely topped up. I need to have some threats on the table. Let's go for the Hail Mary. This is not the recommended play. And let's take out the Fire Elemental. Take out the Fire Elemental. Oh! Okay. So, if he really does decide to try and charge me, he's going to take many casualties. However, he still may have enough damage for a lethal. Lay on Hands can top me up, Guardian of Kings can top me up, but I've only got 22 health. And there goes the Battle Cry removal. With 5 damage, you can certainly swing 2 of those in to remove me. That does leave him with a still healthy amount of fight fire with ooze. I wish I had some ooze. Ooze would have helped me with this Doomhammer a long time ago. Oh, are we going to be lost? 6-8. Yeah, I think we are down. I don't think there's any saviour here. Oh, oh, too late. Too late. Oh, can we? We might be able to survive. So we'll try and play one more after this, so I can hope we can show you a nice winning game as opposed to the pain that we're suffering here. I'm going to go down to rank 21. There is a Warcraft film being directed by Duncan Jones, also known as David Bowie's son, but Duncan Jones directed Moon and Source Code. The Warcraft film is going to be out 2 years' time? Not next year, I think it's 2 years' time for the Warcraft movie. So, okay, well I now have no spells I can throw to do 1 damage to all. The Black Knight will remove a tank, Guardian of Kings will heal me up some. But hey, this is another lose. Oh! Right, we're going to have at least 1 win. So what could we have done better there? Well, we probably didn't save our control again. Throwing again that coin out early was probably a problem. And I think one of the sort of killer things at the end was that we just didn't have the equality combo when we needed it. We needed something to finish off in terms of removing everyone's... we could have cleared his board if we'd managed to top deck into particular cards. So it's either playing the combo at the optimum time or making sure that we have a bit more card draw. Let's see if we can get something against this mage. So if it's an aggro mage, as they've been popular recently, there's lots of nice things here. I can keep equality and consecrate. And then we draw into some middle-ish of the road cards. Again, we're going second. Again, we have the coin. What have we learnt? Save the coin. What are we not going to do? Coin out something random in an early turn. Save the coin. Do not play the coin. Do not play the coin. Barzan. If Barzan is not here, we'll take the win. Move on. I'm loving that. Must not coin out. Must not coin out. Must save. What do we want? King Ooze. When do we want it? No. Okie dokie, turn 2. We have a GM answer going down of all things. Well, we're still in a position, happily, to be nuking everything with a consecrate. So let's save, because we can consecrate. Let's go. Ah, the joys of rank 20. Do remember, of course, that in metagames, if you get a nice early draw against aggro-heavy metagames, this deck is quite fun. So much fun, in fact, I think I might try and craft a Tyrion to go in it. To have that nice little finishing bit. Rag you saw when we threw down Rag last time, he wasn't the most effective finisher. Tyrion as the tank would have really soaked up some extra aggro in that last game, forced him to be dealt with and given me that 5/3 Ashbringer weapon as well. Hey, Oppie, welcome. You find us in the midst of trying not to perish to various oozes. We're taking a look at Kolentodin and its sort of tanking, controlling style. After a couple of losses, both of which were probably avoidable, we are hoping to go in to perhaps a win here. So we've saved our coin, which we failed to do the last couple of games. Get a fireball to the face for our troubles, but you know what, we're okay with that. We've got ways to heal up that damage, which is fine. So now we find ourselves in a position, like we were last game, where we can we're now in a good position to throw out our mid-game tanks. You can see that we can ramp. We've been sheep, but that's fine. We can Sunwalker in a couple of turns' time. There goes a mirror image. Again, no problem. I can throw down a Kodo, and that will actually help us ramp quite nicely in to next turn Sunwalker. We could even Black Knight if we wanted to. And that just destruction of a 2 or less attack meaning very, very nice. Mana Worm goes down. Maybe a bit of bad luck of the draw for this mage, if he's going for the sort of classic aggro mage that's been quite popular recently. And of course this could be the usual ice block, ice barrier and similar. I think that I'm just going to go straight for a bit more of an aggro option. I'm going to Black Knight that, which is an excessive use against a taunt. And let's clear his minions off the table as well. Get table position. I think we should just take all Chuck Norris jokes and replace them with ooze. What are your feelings about that? I love checking out cards. I always used to make my own cards. They were fun times. So I'm quite low on health. I don't want to get nuked down, so for that reason I'm going to drop the old Guardian of Kings with that 6 battle cry of health. I'm going to be healed up and good. I could have been throwing down tanks and things, but do remember, of course, that this sort of aggro-free style of mage will try and freeze all your minions and just keep throwing spells and spells and spells into your face until they finish you off with a pyro or something horrible. There goes a flame strike. I'm cool with that. Let's firstly see what we're dealing with. Let's trigger that secret. And a vaporize, okay. Sad, but I'm quite happy to take that because it then means I can just start stacking out on the table. Ooh, I don't want to be quality. With our Sunwalker. The Use once went around the world in 179 days while standing still. Zidane once tried to headbutt the Use, but the Use isn't ticklish. Chuck Newsrus. Someone needs to Photoshop Chuck Newsrus. There goes the Archmage himself. Bit of an arcane explosion, removing things, but we need to get rid of Archmage Antonidas, because he will be nasty. Well, first things first, we can equality him and then remove him with something. I do not have my Elven Archer. That will be oh so much fun. So the health of all minions to 1 will of course drop down my tank as well, which is nasty. So I can silence him, I can almost remove him. The enemy attack of 1 will mean that I can pretty much finish him in a couple of turns. I love it. Homework! Well, first things first, I can equality him and then do a little removal. Do you know what? I'm going to equality him. This is a little bit excessive, but let's jump into a True Silver. That'll certainly let me pop a removal. Oh, well, you know what? I can order as well. Excessive! So excessive, but at least I can get another 4 damage in. So I just don't want him to keep grabbing fireballs into his hand. That will be the very, very awkward piece. Okay, missiles. Oh, 3 damage. That's certainly going to remove something that I know and love. There goes my Sunwalker. There comes in the Fire Blast. What has he got in his hand? He can throw another fireball. We know he picked that up with his Archmage. And yeah, he's still throwing them in, but I've still got a Holy Light. I'm not doomed yet, by any means. So let's get down a tank. I could probably do with some more card draw, so I'm going to throw out that Acolyte. And then I'm going to summon another token before attacking straight to the face. And healing for 2 with one of the best basic cards, True Silver Champion. Absolutely loving. Kill the mage with fire! So, in all seriousness, this game going a bit better. We've managed to get our tanks out mid-game, we've managed to keep a bit more control in the early game. We need some more freezing and similar. There we go, he has gone for some hardcore abuse of that Acolyte of Pain, and you can see this is just throwing fireball upon fireball of fireball, and he's taken away the attacking threat, but we've got the slime, the second slime. And we can just start racking up the table control now. So having had the big tanks and the tanking to slow down the mid game, getting the control in the early game, you can see that this deck does then come out with sort of some nice swarmy-ish minions in the late game. Really nice card, the Azure Drake, because it ramps you in at sort of turn 5 where you can throw it down with another couple of smaller minions. So with this table control, unless he top decks another Flame Strike, and remember of course he's already played 1, we're still in a very, very strong position to pull out the win. And then look, we can just compound it here, throw down a Walker, throw down a Harvest Golem, and suddenly we've just got a bunch of really, really, really irritating minions. Boom! Okay, 1. So go on then, let's play one more. Then we will have had a grand total of 4 games, and we will have had a good look at how this deck can work. So this will be our last game of this New Player Monday, Know Your Enemy, deck preview, garage, list, guide, extravaganza. Insert your word here. It's really taking a deck and playing it and learning it. We are going first this time. It's going to be a mage similarly. Consecrate might be worth keeping, but I could do it. So I'm going to take a risk and keep Consecrate. There was a very good case for mulliganing that entire hand for the early game drops. So Lurtheb will actually be quite good against any mage step. It will slow down some of his nasty spells, and the Harvest Golem gives me a ramp option. I can throw something in and slow him down a bit. I'm quite happy with the humility. Changing a minion's attack to 1 will certainly slow maybe 1 or 2 nasty minions down in the early game as well. And yep, I'm also happy with the Pyromancer. If he starts throwing down lots of nasty small things, that will help me remove them en masse too. I just need my equality. Well, a Fire Blast removes that nicely. Remember, he's still got a coin. He might be trying to coin out something nasty turn 4 or similar. That comes my Sunwalker. Okay, well, nothing else for it. Harvest Column goes down, and we will start pushing the pressure on again. Secret goes down. My turn. That could be a Vaporize or similar. Best way of seeing what you're dealing with. To the face. Okay, Osh Barrier. He gains 8 armor. We have to be accepting of that fact. It was going to happen at some time or another, so it may as well happen when we know about it. It's a crossover. Tell you what you should do. I'm just taking a look at Jexanon in chat is sharing some League of Legends style Hearthstone cards. Tell you what you should do, Jex. You should do a StarCraft ones. That'd be amazing. If they released a StarCraft card game, I would be sitting there going, just take my money. Take the money. Take it. Take the money. Okay, so for 5 we can throw down another tank. That's certainly going to annoy this quite a bit. So I'm happy to go for that. So at the moment I threw down that tank. Other options could have humility. That would have certainly slowed that down. But the Water Elemental really thrives upon its annoying freeze effect rather than anything else. So I'd quite like just to remove that straight up. He's gone for the 3s, dropped it down, popped it up, coining into something for another 2 mana drop. There goes the Fireball. That's going to remove the 2 damage minion as well. Nicely done, nicely done. So the Silence will certainly remove that freeze effect. I'm not really wanting to coin it out, but the Sunwalker will vastly irritate him again as well. I'm just going to keep swinging to the face. He can poly again if he likes. He can freeze me if he likes, but he will perish. So we've got some nice ability to pressure too. There goes a Frostbolt, so a ping, and then his own Shield Bearer goes down. He can then go for the straight trade if he so desires. Next go. However, unless I can remove all of these somehow, I'm sure I can if I get creative. Well, humility, changing something's attack to 1, it's not going to do anything huge. What I can do is attack with these 2. No, I cannot. If I'm not careful with a Pyro, that's just going to be destroying my own cards. Lurtheb will certainly slow him down. Enemy spells costing more. Good. Throwing down the Spellbreaker will remove the Taunt. I can then not quite remove him. Another Sludge Belcher would be another annoying tank to put in the way of things. Alternatively, the humility will just slow things right down for him. So I'm thinking of perhaps a Lurtheb into a humility. Now the humility would have been an ideal way to trigger Pyromancer if I needed to. But I'm actually quite happy with that. I mean, if he really wants to trade for that, he's probably not going to be able to play any spells. If he really wants to trade that off the table, he's going to have to throw a Fire Blast and then sacrifice his Water Elemental, and I don't mind that trade. So naturally against Miracle Rogue, very nice, but also against things that are throwing around a lot of minions. Lertheb, excellent for really messing up your opponent for a go. And what that gives me is the ability to take to the table and start putting the pressure down that I would like to put down. So there we go, we get down an ooze, we can then tick this away with a couple of bits of splash damage, and Lertheb actually coming in to swing for 5 damage. So, having slowed my opponent, we'll now see what horrible spells he has in his hand that he wanted to throw at me last go, but couldn't because they costed 5 mana more. What have we got in hand? Well, a couple of Consecrates. After a Pyromancer, we'll do 3 damage to his table, who tries to swarm with little minions. We do have the Spellbreaker to silence anything particularly nasty. And then last but not least, we have some backup Consecrates as well, so we've got large amounts of control there if we need. But really what we need to focus on is getting some damage to that hero before any ice blocks come up. Ice blocks. Nasty Arcane Explosion, that being buffed up, doing a lot of damage to all of my littlies on the table. But we have again some nice options. So how can we swing this away? Do I want to sacrifice Lertheb? But not entirely. Do I have options to do anything else? Not really. What I can certainly throw down is the True Silver. I do not want to be sacrificing either of those, if at all. Poss, particularly the tank, but doing a nice little heal will help us out there. I'm not going to double Consecrate, that would be most wasteful. Pyromancer into a Consecrate would also be very wasteful. So for that reason, I think we'll throw down the Silver Hand. We'll do the tap trade, which will then give us at least a smaller tank that we'll have to think about, and then we can swing for another 5 with Lertheb. I want to keep that pressure on the enemy hero if all possible. So we are getting there a little bit more. Blizzard comes down. It's going to be freezing everything, possibly giving him a removal option next turn. So a little bit frustrating on that side of things. And there we go, the Fireball finally getting rid of everything. Lay on Hands of restoring 8 and drawing 3, well that will certainly accelerate me into the game. However, I'm only going to be getting 4 value for that at this point in time. So pressure wise, it's really more for the drawing of 3 than it is for anything else. Don't want to be throwing down the Spellbreaker for no reason. I get into a Guardian of Kings, and this is where Tyrion would really help me out. So I've ridiculously overhealed myself there. If I lose by a certain amount, welcome Gamer Decks. You join us in the middle of taking a look at Kolento, tanky Paladin. Suddenly loads of cards flying onto the deck, secrets going down, our friend has got some more draw power, however we have options, and I've still not seen an equality. There is the equality! Now we can start controlling the table, enjoying that greatly. So, do I want to really equality in this situation? I don't think there's anything too wrong with just getting the table clear. So we will equality it all up for a Consecration! Boom! There it goes down. Goes down the secret. When a friendly minion dies, put 2 copies into his hand. He's managed to scoop up. How does that work? Does he get 2 of both? 2 of the first one? I will do a proper grind at some point. This is an experimental one of comedy and pain. Make of that what you will. Right, I need something to start doing some attacking damage, so we're going to throw one of our Pyros onto the table. Make him think twice. But we've got him down to 14 health. We do have a Ragnaros in the bag. He will have another Polymorph, I believe, somewhere. I think we've only seen 1. So if he's playing 2 Polys. There goes another Archmage. Remember, of course, duplicate the new Mage Secret coming in and giving him yet more irritating options such as this. There goes a 1 ping damage, because he's wanting to try and remove things. Struggling! Okay, now, oh, if I only had my Order Peacekeeper, which I do. Nice little combo here, so I can change the health attack of the Archmage to 1. Throwing in the Stampeding Kodo destroys a random enemy minion with 2 or less attack, and that is an insta-bin of that minion, so a nice little combo for you guys there. Loving that. Bring on the tokens, and the swarm of the tokens is coming in. with my tiny swarm of minions, it looks as though we may have our second win and then balancing out our 4 games. Very nice. Down goes the Erythral Arcanist. He will gain if he has secrets ready at the end of his toe. Down goes the Poly, that is sheeping him up. And Fire Blast, of course, remove one of my other minions. Yep, imagining the Pyromancer because that was doing most damage. So our friend is in control mode, but now what we can do is win happily. So we can drop Raggy. Now ideally this would be Tyrion, but we can jump on in, throw all of those kind of things in, and then do the last 8 damage with Ragnaros. Boom! So thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's Hearthstone Half Hour. What we have just done there is taken a look at none other than the Kolento Paladin that Kolento himself took to Legend last season. Now it's a mixture of control, it's a mixture of awkward tanks and similar things that just cause your opponent a bunch of problems. So, taking a look at Kolentodin, here is where we went. We tried to keep the game under control, the board and minions under control in the early game. And then, having kept the board under control in the early game, we then get tanks down and cemento control in the mid game, meaning that by the late game we have board control, lots of minions, and then a finisher, and our finisher is ideally Tyrion, but in this case we went with Ragnaros as a substitute. So thank you for joining. Now if you would like to join us for future streams, where can you find us? Well, with the ending slate I can show you. Please do join us in future if you're watching this on YouTube, join us at twitch.tv/FelcroftCast. We try and go live afternoons UK time around about a lunch break. That's around about 2-3 UK time. And then we also go live every evening, and it's generally between sort of 7:30 and 8:30, 7 to 8 UK time in the evening, Monday through Friday. So we try and regularly stream a whole bunch. If you're watching a video on YouTube, please do follow twitch.tv/FelcroftCast and come and join in the chat. It's a bunch more fun. You can work out everything that's going on and a lot more besides. If you're on Twitch, check out youtube.com/FelcroftCast, so you can see all of our old videos, a whole bunch of other stuff there, a bunch of other games, and lots of the Hearthstone Half Hour, our 5-night a week, or we try and make it 5-night a week series. Also some Curse of Naxxramas videos and a whole bunch more. And last but not least, Twitter is at FelcroftCasts. There you can tweet us when we are not streaming and vidding. We love to have a chat about everything. Great to keep up with all you guys. And then last but not least, the website felcroft.org. And there you can find all the videos, blog articles, some different games as well. And then finally, some things that don't live so well in a video, like new game guides and new player links and similar. So thanks so much for tuning in. If you liked it, please do share it with loads of people. Love having the stuff shared, it's brilliant. If you didn't like it, if you could just comment and let us know why, then we can try and improve it for the future. Hopefully see you tomorrow for some more Curse of Naxxramas. Hopefully a new wing is going to unlock. If you're on YouTube, just go ahead and check all that out in the playlists. This is